Any one of them could prove a formidable ally. Oh, except for Kuriboh. Ha! Imagine if I said I wanted to choose Kuriboh as my deck master, eh? That would be absolutely... Oh, crap in the Nile. I just chose Kuriboh as my deck master, didn't I?
Do the la 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 la.
That's an annoying Kuriboh.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another BTD Gaming video, another BTD Gaming deck profile, and I know what you're thinking. Matt, what could you possibly be doing? How is this gonna win me a YCS? How is this gonna help me top a regional to win a really cool mat and an invite? How am I not gonna get laughed out of locals? But I'm here to tell you that it won't. And I'm going to be perfectly straightforward with that. This deck probably won't be topping big events like that anytime soon. But I'm going to bring you something that this game doesn't always bring people from time to time. And that is a buttload of fun. We're of course talking about the ever so popular Kuriboh. So this deck is very interesting. It's centered around Kuriboh, a classic Duel Monsters era monster, a mainstay in Yugi's deck, and what's widely considered to be the first hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh! Being that during damage calculation, if your opponent's monster attacks, you can discard this card and take no battle damage from the battle. But hopefully, you're not going to be using Kuriboh in this kind of way. One thing we need to learn about the Kuriboh archetype as a whole is it's gotten support through the years. Most recently in the Brothers of Legend set, where we got actually a lot of Kuriboh support, and has made the deck better, I guess? But we're going to take a look at that in a second. So what's funny about this archetype is that some of these cards, if you read them individually, are some of the most broken cards you've ever seen, in a vacuum of course, and you read them and you're like, how is this ever printed onto a card? But you'll see that in a second. So we're gonna go through the card by card here. Our goal here, well, is a couple different things. This deck definitely relies on the extra deck, and we'll see why in a second. But this deck can also make tokens very quickly. And we'll see why. So let's go through the card by card here. First, we have Kuriboh. Again, you want him. He's searchable. You can make tokens off him with cards we're going to look at in a second. And it's Kuriboh, of course. But wait, hang on. Not this art. We need the good Kuriboh art. The new Kuriboh art. There we go. I love this Kuriboh art. Maybe that's a hot take, I don't know. But we have 3 Kuriboh. Next, we have Astral Kuribo. You can reveal one number Xyz monster in your extra deck. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, this card's level becomes the revealed monster's rank. Also, while it is face up in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck, except number Xyz monsters. You can only use the effect of Astral Kuribo once per turn. A number Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. And that effect is that it can't be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect. So, we're going to see what Xyz we use to get this out. But what's cool about this is it's a special summon. And this can help with a lot of plays through the deck. What you'll notice about some of these Kuriboh cards is they have these different effects they can use to either avoid destruction or get themselves back out onto the field or search other monsters, things like that. Astral Kuribo is going to be making use of a rank 5 Xyz monster. So we have 3 of those. Next, we have the newest members of the Kuriboh deck and the Kuriboh brothers that were introduced in the Brothers of Legend. We of course have Kuriboh, 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 and Kuriboh. Now, you run one of each of these because you have one goal and one goal only. To get all of these guys onto the field at once, and there's a couple different ways we can do that. Each of their effects are not great. If we look at Kuriboh, you can discard this card and target one Kuriboh monster you control. It gains 1500 attack. You can tribute this card you control and one each of Kuriboh, Kuribi, Kuribo, and Kuriboh from your hand or field. Add one Kuri Bandit from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Immediately after this effect resolve, you can normal summon one fiend monster from your hand. So what you'll notice, the pattern here is we'll just call them the Kuriboh brothers, is that you want them all on the field or in your hand or whatever, and there's a couple different ways you can do that, and they can gain effects off of that. Let's look at Kuriboh. When this card or another Kuriboh monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one monster with 300, 200 attack, 200 defense from your deck, except Kuriboh. You can only use this effect of Kuriboh once per turn. You can tribute this card you control and one each of the Kuriboh brothers from your hand. To special summon one Curry Babylon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Alright, so again, similar effect to your Kuriboh. And now we have Kuriboh. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can discard this card, add one Kuriboh monster from your deck or hand, except Kuriboh. Once per turn, you can discard one trap, which we don't have any traps in the main deck, and then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1500 until the end of this turn. If you want to commit trap to this deck, I mean, go for it. But again, you want these guys to be on the field or in your hand. And next we have Kuriboh. When this card or another Kuriboh monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can add one spell trap from your deck to your hand that lists the card Kuriboh in its text. This is important. You can only use this effect of Kuriboh once per turn. Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, and you control another Kuriboh monster, you can change the attack of all other monsters you control to 0 until the end of this turn, and if you do, negate the attack. So a very similar effect to Link Kuriboh is Kuriboh. Adding the spell trap from your deck is the important effect here, and we'll see why in a second. Next we have Kuriboh, one copy. At the end of the battle phase, you can discard one card, then target one monster in your graveyard that was destroyed by battle and sent there this turn. Special summon it. That's any monster, by the way. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target any number of Kuriboh monsters in your graveyard to special summon them. Alright, so this is almost like a soul charge, kind of, for Kuriboh, which is neat because there are situations where maybe one of your big monsters, one of your big extra deck monsters is out in some way. You can Kuriboh it back onto the field, and also you can swarm the field with other Kuriboh monsters, which you see is something that this deck can do. Next, we have Kuri Babylon. Now, Kuri Babylon is a 5-star Kuriboh. It's not really a Kuriboh monster, but you use these Kuriboh monsters to get to Kuri Babylon. If you have more monsters in your graveyard than your opponent, you can special summon this card from your hand. And during your main or battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon the Kuriboh brothers from your hand and or graveyard in attack position. So you can see there's different ways you can get these guys onto the field, which is very, very important, especially if you're trying to link climb. Next, we have Winged Kuriboh. Yes, he's also here. So those are the Kuriboh monsters that we have in the deck. And our goal here is to use the Kuriboh brothers to search other cards or search spell or traps, and then also to get these guys onto the field all at once. Alright, going on to other monsters, we have Link Slayer, a level 5. Again, very important. You'll see why in a second with a spell card we're going to go through. Link Slayer, level 5, can special summon itself if you control no monsters. It can also be back row removal, which is pretty good. Next, we have Red-Haired Hasty Horse. So if there is no cards in the column for both sides, it can be special summon. Again, another level 5 for a Kuriboh spell card. That's pretty insane, so it's important here. Jester Convict, it's a level 1. It can also special summon. Very good extender. We have 2 copies of that. You'll see why these level 5s are important in just a second. Next, we have our hand traps, Ash Blossom, and we also have 3 Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler I put in here because it is level 1, so there's that. But if you would like to switch this with an Infinite Impermanence, or Ghost Ogre, or DD Crow, or what have you, then be my guest. And we also have the Dragoon Engine. We have Dark Magician, Red Eyes, and Red Eyes Fusion. On to the spells, 1 for 1. Send 1 monster from your hand. The special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck, which is really, really important in this deck specifically. Now, some of the crazy Kuriboh spell cards. Alright, next, we have one of the older ones, the Flute of Summoning Kuriboh. Let's read this card for a second. Take 1 Kuriboh, or 1 Winged Kuriboh monster from your deck, and either add it to your hand or special summon it. Notice anything missing? This isn't a once per turn. This isn't a hard or soft once per turn. You can activate as many of these things as you want. So not only is it a searcher, not only does it give you the option to add the card to your hand or to special summon it, not only is it not once per turn, it's also a quick play. So theoretically, you activate this guy. If you have 2 of this guy in your hand, you activate 1, it gets ashed, you can chain another one and still get the effect. Flute Summoning Kuriboh, again, just by reading this card, it's insane. You can special summon a Kuriboh or Winged Kuriboh from your deck for free. And if you have multiples, you can do it multiple times because it's not once per turn. Probably the best card in this deck, the Flute Summoning Kuriboh. Next, we have an older, more popular card, but let's take a good look at Multiply for a second. Tribute 1 face-up Kuriboh. Special summon as many Kuriboh tokens, Fiend Dark level 1 attack 300, defense 200, as possible in defense position. They cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. So, if you open with Flute of Summoning Kuriboh and Multiply, it's this simple. Activate Flute Summoning Kuriboh, get a Kuriboh onto the field, activate Multiply, and next thing you know, you have 5 tokens on the field. And that gives you a lot of openings to set up a pretty formidable board when you really think about it. 5 tokens! And all it takes is these 2 cards. Multiply is also a quick play. Very, just crazy cards here. Flute Summoning Kuriboh and Multiply, and then 5-star Twilight. This card was also released in Brothers of Legends. If the only monster you control is 1 level 5 monster, any level 5 monster, doesn't have to be a Kuriboh, tribute that monster. Special summon 5 monsters, the Kuriboh brothers, from your hand, deck, or graveyard. They can't be tributed as a tribute summon. You can only activate 1. This at least has a once per turn. So if you get one of these guys, and this is what I was talking about with these level 5 monsters being important, or even Curry Babylon, who's a level 5, if you get these on the field and you have 5-star Twilight, you're getting all of these guys. All of these guys onto the field. All the Kuriboh brothers from your hand, your deck, or the grave. See what I'm saying about how you can just swarm the field with Kuribohs pretty easily. Next, we have 1 Call by the Grave to negate hand traps, which is really important in this deck. And we also have a Harpy's Feather Duster to get rid of back row. So this is the main deck. Now the extra deck. The extra deck is kind of tight, and this deck is very reliant on the extra deck. So first, we have Red Eyes Black Dragoon. I swear, this isn't a Dragoon Turbo deck. Copium. You know, just a great card. It's a negate, it can pop cards, it can burn. We all know what Dragoon can do at this point. Really easy to bring out in this deck, actually. We have number 61, Volcasaurus. Now, the big reason he's in here is to reveal it for your Astral Kuribo. So you can get that special summon. Plus, if you manage to get him onto the field to Xyz summon him, that can also go into a Zeus play. Even if you just have an Xyz monster in here as a revealing option, I would still run a Zeus just in case he does get onto the field to attack. So we have a fusion, 2 Xyz, and then a bunch of links. Fitting with the theme here, Link Kuribo. 1 level 1 monster. This deck is full of level 1 monsters. So you can use him as an effect, but if you want to use him to link off any of your tokens as extenders for other links, then you could definitely do that. Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax, just a really good link 4, hard to out. We have our Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, their removal, and this also leads into an access code talker play. We have Verte Anaconda to get your Dragoon out, obviously, with Red Eyes Fusion. And next we have Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy. Now, this is one of my favorite cards that actually came out of Battle of Chaos. It's a Link 2, and it's 2 monsters, including a Dark Monster. And luckily for us, most of these cards are Dark Monsters. Regular Kuriboh is, all the Kuriboh brothers are, Jester Convict is, Curry Babylon is. Alright, so we have a lot of Dark Monsters to choose from for this guy. And his effect does come up. You can target one Dark Monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to a zone this card points to. Again, it's a Link 2, has really good arrows as well. So a handy little guy to have in your extra deck. Next, Relinquish Anima, another Link 1, level 1 monster, except a token this time. And listen, people sometimes forget about the Relinquish Anima. And you never know, you could just steal one of their monsters. We have Salamangreat Almirage, again, a 1 normal summon or set monster with 1,000 less attack. Just another good Link 1 to have. Link Spire to link off one of the tokens to go into other Link plays. We have Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, which is an Omni-Negate, or not an Omni-Negate, it's a negate, a monster negate that you can have on your turn and negate your opponent's monster effects. Really important. Pair this up with Dragoon, which is an Omni-Negate. You have a pretty formidable board. We have IP Masquerena. Now, not only can you link on your opponent's turn using IP Masquerena, but a link monster that used this card as link material can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So you can potentially have a board with Appaloosa and Dragoon where both these cards can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and they have that negate option, which is very good. And next, of course, Access Code Talker to clean up the board and to hopefully get the win. We do have a side deck here. I actually forgot something. So first, we have our Nibiru. You know, for obvious reasons, Nibiru is just a great field wipe. If your opponent has a lot of summons. We have DD Crow to banish cards from the graveyard. Dark Ruler No More. These are your going second cards, by the way. Dark Ruler No More. Lightning Storm. The thing about Lightning Storm is this deck is actually not very good in, oh well, it's not great in a lot of formats, but in this format specifically, with Artifact Scythe running around, not being able to access your extra deck is kind of brutal, because not a lot of these guys in the main deck are going to be doing much impactful things. So Lightning Storm is really important to have going second. Same thing with Evenly Matched. We also have the Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment. Again, if you want to swap stuff up to put in like an Infinite Impermanence or different hand traps, be my guest. So we're going to take a look at some replays and see how this deck does. Alright, we're back, and, yeah, this deck, it's definitely an interesting one. A lot can happen. The problem here is, it has a really low floor where if you don't draw the perfect cards, like these spell cards or some of the monsters, depending on their level, you're in a pretty bad spot. But if you get that combo, and it, you know, doesn't get interrupted, which is a lot to ask for in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can kind of pop off and really swarm the field and really build an impressive board. Now, I'm well aware of the fact that there are decks that can do similar things to what this deck does, and that they can do it better. Alright, but, you know, as long as we know what we're walking into with this deck, it's just a lot of fun to play. You know, like I said before, are you going to be topping a YCS with this? No. Are you going to be topping a regional with this? No. But you know what? You bring this into locals and catch some people off guard, because let's be honest, not a lot of people are preparing for Kuriboh. You catch an opponent off guard, it can be a really, really good time, especially if the deck does pop off. This is a casual level deck. I wouldn't even call this rogue, but it's Kuriboh. You know, it's a classic deck, and it's really, really fun to play. Now, if you're one of those people who doesn't want to waste their time with not great decks, then clearly this isn't the one for you, because like I said, there's decks that can do what this deck does, but they can do it better, more optimally, and things like that. But this deck is just a lot of fun to play, and, you know, I know this is shocking, but, you know, games can be fun. Even Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all games can be fun too. So yeah, so this was the Kuriboh deck profile, and boy, this deck can pop off as long as you're not scythe locked, and as long as you're not ashed or interrupted in any other way. Would that really happen? That much? Nah.